Good morning and welcome to Worship on Wednesday. I don't know about you, but I was so challenged on Sunday listening to Becky and Neil as they shared with us. As Becky tried to get us to see right back from the beginning of the Bible that God wanted Adam to realize that he'd been placed by God and he had this purpose and provision and identity and parameters are based in his life by God before other relationships came in, and these parameters that Neil helped us grapple with a little bit as well. And I went from that to a verse the next morning where Jesus turns to his disciples and he tells Peter off. He reprimands Peter because Peter tries to take him away from his direction, Jesus' direction of the cross and a purpose of the cross. And he says to Peter, get away from me, Satan. You are seeing things merely from a human point of view, not from God's. And that's, I guess, the thought I had from Sunday morning. And sometimes we see things from our own human or a sense of the world and how it tries to get us to see things from, not from God's. I'm guilty of that, I know. Humanly, Peter wanted Jesus to be the all-conquering king, a Messiah who did not lose, a superhero with no defeats. It's like today, I guess, when we face trials and problems and twists and turns, when things aren't plain sailing and life is messy and impossible, when pain and suffering comes, when everything just seems so bleak, when around us we hear, and certainly in the experience of the early church, where there were beheadings and sidelining and persecution and struggle upon struggle and upon struggle. And we're reminded that God's perspective, God's point of view is so different to ours. Remember the story of Joseph? Take the words of Joseph seriously when he says to his brothers, you meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. And as one song puts it, this is the God who again and again and again turns our weaknesses into his opportunities and turns seeming defeat into glorious victory. Seeing things from God's point of view. No wonder a few chapters earlier in Mark's Gospel, Jesus spoke across the storm and says to his disciples, don't be afraid, take courage, I'm here. We've seen the end of the story and we know that we win. Let's take this song, beautiful song this morning, What If Blessings, as just a reflection of that to help us see things from God's point of view.